Alright, this is officially my first full test of this camera. I am ecstatic right now. I hope that it works. I hope that it works well. So I've got a lanyard on here, so in case my mounting fails miserably, shouldn't lose my camera. God, I do not want to lose this camera to the road. I'll be checking it periodically also, and we'll see how this goes. This is my first test. I guess right now I'll talk a little bit about all of the journey. Honestly, it's a journey that I went through to get to this point. So first off, this is probably going to take a good 25 minutes worth of video to talk about, and I'm not kidding when I say that. So first off, I said to myself one day, I said, oh, you know, I always see people on YouTube videotaping rides and all that kind of stuff. So I figured, hey, you know, it'd be pretty cool if I did the same thing. Because I'm into, you know, videotaping and stuff like that. I like to see, I love, you know, a couple of years later, seeing things, and especially more than a couple of years, you know, seeing things from 10 years ago and stuff like that. Just, it fascinates me in a way. So I said to myself, okay, let's make this happen. So at first it was supposed to be a nice and simple it was supposed to be a nice and simple little design. I would just have a nice phone, like GPS mount for a phone, mounted to my tachometer, and have it pointing forward so that obviously the camera could see the road. And I'd actually use my phone, or I'd use my old Android phone, you know, one of the other, my old Droid X or my new phone, to take the videos with. So I said, oh, you know, this will be just a, you know, cool little 2-hour, 3-hour project, you know. I was a little bit bored that day, sort of, and so I said, you know, what the heck, I may as well do that. But what happened was, not what I expected either, but what happened was, it turned into a whole series of unfortunate events. And the best way I can explain that is, first of all, what I did was, I took actually a pair of Skull Candy earphones that I had, that I bought, that were just extras that I didn't really need. I took those earphones and I said, okay, I'll use the microphone off of these to record audio with. That's great, okay. Because from YouTube, I had seen a lot of people who just took a regular, you know, microphone, put it like behind the cheek pad or whatever, and recorded audio, and it worked great. So I figured this little mic, you know, it'll do the same job basically. So that was the first thing. Did that, plugged it in. Now at this point I was just doing audio tests. At this point I didn't do anything but audio tests. So, you know, I wasn't doing any video taping. So while I did this audio test, alright, audio testing. So I basically took the phone, put it on a voice recorder app, plugged in the microphone, and started positioning it in different parts of my helmet. You know, I figured, okay, this will be easy. You know, this will be no problem. You know, I figured people on YouTube did it, so it'd be fine. At this speed right here, you know, at these speeds, you couldn't hear a thing. It was all wind noise, totally all wind noise. And so I experimented with that for hours and hours and hours. I got frustrated, really frustrated. I actually wound up breaking the earphones, which was kind of annoying. Obviously, they're only like $12, so that was good. Well, it's a good thing. But yeah, I wound up breaking the earphones, which sucked. And then I kind of called it quits. I was like, okay, you know, all right, this isn't going to work. So I went online, did some research, and a lot of people just use cheap, you know, lapel microphones, you know, like the ones they put on people's shirts for interviews. So I said, all right, I'll buy myself one of those. So I did. I actually bought 5 of them because it was like $6 for 5 on Amazon. So I did that, which was good. And with those 5 microphones, I started experimenting. I basically only needed one though for experimenting, so I kind of had 5 to play with, you know, at my house, which is good. I wound up putting in my helmet all different types of ways. I wound up doing it a bunch of different ways, and I tried different spots in my helmet, a bunch of different spots in my helmet with that microphone. So I figured that maybe I could get it to work the way I wanted it to. Well, I couldn't, unfortunately. And I basically, again, let me back up for a second. I started using my computer because that was a stereo microphone, whereas the phone only took a mono microphone. Well, a stereo port. I don't think it's actually a stereo microphone, but that's besides the point. So the phone couldn't accept that type of microphone connection. So I started using my computer, and I had noticed that the audio was a lot better on my computer, just in general, no matter where I put the mic, which was really encouraging. So by the time I bought the camera, you know, I had a pretty good setup, and after spending a zillion hours trying to cancel out noise but still hear my voice with the microphone attached to my computer, I got to where at 60 miles an hour I could talk kind of sort of barely, and then the wind noise would overtake it. So that was a bit frustrating, but I'm gonna go this way. That was a bit frustrating, but it was alright. You know, I figured, okay, I can work with this, and I can make this work, and roll with it. So what I did was, I have a rubber tube, actually a gas line for a small tractor or whatever, actually over the microphone, and with the computer I needed this, honestly, because the camera's audio is so much better. I don't even think I would need it for the camera, but it's already in there, so I'm just gonna leave it, and it works great. Well, we're gonna see if it works great with this video, but the little test that I did with it worked great, so hopefully it'll work as good now that I'm kind of full blast, you know, doing everything at once. And so I ran with the method, and then I plugged into my camera, and it worked. So that's kind of the audio side of it. Basically, what I would recommend to anybody, not that I'm in any position by any means to recommend anything to anyone, but just from my little experience that I had, I would recommend to you to not do any audio experimentation until you buy a camera of some sort, and or a voice recorder that has noise cancellation abilities. That's another method that you can use, kind of like a voice memo thing, but some of them actually do have wind cancellation. That's what you want, because that's one thing this camera does really well, is it cancels the wind noise so that you can only hear my voice and the bike. So that's important, obviously. So it's exciting though that I kind of gotten to where I am now. I'm actually making a video. The only things that I've left to do is figure out how to charge the camera, which might sound like the easiest thing, but it doesn't seem to be charging. But that's hopefully a small little thing that I can figure out. But now the story on the video side of things, well, I won't get into it too much because basically the phone was a disaster of all disasters. The phone was basically a disaster of all disasters, and you know, I couldn't get steady video on a Harley like this. There's too many vibrations. Hang on a minute, I want to give you an example of something real quick. Hang on. Okay. Alright, I just wanted you to hear there that my bike is pretty loud, and the reason why, I'm going to go back to audio for a second here. The reason why I wanted to show you that is because I just want to kind of show that even with my bike being that loud, you can still get good audio, assuming this is good, from, you know, a microphone inside the helmet. So I just wanted to point that out. Anyway, back to the video. So the phone crap didn't work out. I didn't even take that. That's one area I did good at. I didn't even take that much time with it. I'm like, this isn't working. I'm done trying. So I finished trying. So I stopped and just bought the camera, kind of at that point, which was good. So basically with the video now, I have the camera. This camera's case doesn't have a microphone port available. So I had to modify the case, which was a pain in the ass, and then I had to solder actually an iPhone, iPod headphones. I had to solder that to the microphone's cable because the end, the 3.5 millimeter jack end on the iPhone, iPod headphones is small enough for it to actually fit in the case and still have it closed, which I could show a video of at some point if anybody ever cared. But so that's to make it small enough so it fits. I had to do that. The other thing was I ran into a problem with is mounting the camera itself, because, and I knew this going into it, the Sony doesn't actually have any side mount capability built into the camera mount or the waterproof case at all. You have to mount it like on the bottom of the case so the camera's on top of your helmet, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to mount on the side of my helmet where it is now. So what I did was that, first of all, and I took the 3M dual lock. I bought 3M dual lock, which so far is holding up nicely. Let's hope it continues to hold up nicely. But yeah, I took 3M dual lock and I have it dual locked, I guess you could say, to the camera, and then to the waterproof case, which the camera is in, obviously. And then I have like a paracord lanyard that I made just through the cases, through the waterproof case's little lanyard hole. I guess it's technically a lanyard hole. And so I have a little paracord thing going there around my chin strap, hopefully, I mean it should be, so that if the camera were to fall off with the waterproof case, it wouldn't go crashing to the ground. It would just kind of swing in front of me and I could pull over and hopefully, obviously, rescue the camera. Now I have the Sony AS10 with a 16 gigabyte SD card smashed into it for my phone, actually. And I have microphone ran into my helmet, the way I explained. So basically, time-wise, I have invested probably, honestly, probably a day, 24 hours. I'm not kidding. That's ridiculous, I know, but I'm not really kidding when I say that. It's probably been 24 hours. I'm a little bit ashamed to say that, and annoyed, to say the least. I could have if I just bought a camera and these microphones right away, I could have cut that time down to 5 hours at most. But it's a learning process, you know. It's not like I've been mounting cameras to motorcycle helmets my whole life, so it's just something that I had to trial and error, and I thought what I thought would be an easy kind of solution, an easy method, turned into kind of a hassle, actually. So I wound up having to deal with that, but not a huge fan of that. Anyway, good spot to pass too, really. Slow speeds. There's 2 gear 70 right there. I'm telling you, man, the bike rowers